But without further ado, let's bring on the man, Markos Moulitsas. How are you doing, Markos?
I'm doing great, Hermano. So glad to have you to be on your show. And I got to say, I think everybody listening should really, really think very serious about donating to this fundraising drive. Because what you guys are doing is amazing, and it must be supported. And like you said, the Koch brothers ain't doing it. We have to support each other.
Markos, that is one of the reasons I also wanted you on, because you are one of the stalwarts in this in the liberal sphere all over this country. I mean, everybody knows who you are. Everybody reads what you, even if they are not sure, they're reading something that came from the DailyKos. That's where they're getting it from. I mean, I love that recently also the election team from DailyKos has really been making a whole lot of strides there. You notice MSNBC and all these other guys are calling these guys up now to hear what their numbers are. Or isn't that a great feeling?
It is. DailyKos was started 15 years ago, which in internet years is about 2,000 years. And really, when it began, it was really focused on two things. It was focused on being anti-war. I am a U.S. Army veteran, and I served during the Gulf War. And so when in 2002, when Bush was rushing our nation into yet another war in the Middle East, that was one of my issues. But the other one was elections, because I believe very strongly that no matter what our specific issues might be, whether it's the environment or racial justice or immigration or economic equality, no matter what that issue is, it does not matter if Republicans are in power. We're seeing that very, very clearly today. So first step is always, you have to win elections. So now, 15 years later, the DailyKos has grown to the point where we have a big enough audience. We have between 12 and 20 million unique visitors every month on our website alone, not including Facebook and our email list. And it allows us to raise a lot of money for great Democrats, and we've been doing that this first half of the year to great success. And we haven't won any election yet of the big ones. We have one on Tuesday coming up in Georgia. But I have to say, we've been outperforming Trump by about 20 points average across these special elections. And so everybody understand what that means. If we shifted the country 20 points next year in 2018, we could pick up as many as 123 Republican seats in Congress, as well as take control of the Senate. Now, will we do that? No, we're not going to win that many seats, but we only need 24. And I really believe that we're within 50, 60, we're within the realm of picking up 50, 60 seats, and maybe even the Senate. I just want to tell you what that means. If we win the House and the Senate, that means we can impeach Donald Trump and Mike Pence, and it means that the Speaker of the House, maybe Nancy Pelosi, ends up being president. That's what's at stake. That's why elections matter. And that's why we all really need to, no matter how much you may hate the Democratic Party or you may hate the ickiness of partisan politics, the fact that this stuff matters, and we can really, really, really change the direction of our country next year if we manage to do this right.
You know what's wonderful, Markos? I saw that you wrote a post on the DailyKos, and you mentioned that, right? And I don't know if you saw the response that I gave. I'm like, wow, good minds, I guess, think alike. Because a couple of weeks before I said that in one of the blog posts, that, hey, guess what? We could actually have a scenario where Nancy Pelosi is a president. Can you believe what the right is thinking about that?
No, we can make next year a presidential year, which is kind of amazing. And sure, it's not technically a presidential year, but Donald Trump will be on the ballot. And if we play this right, we can make sure that he doesn't finish out his term.
Absolutely. So now, Markos, to what do you attribute this great success? I mean, over the last several years, there has been an explosion on DailyKos as far as viewership, as far as what I like to call some sort of market penetration, if you will. I mean, it has really just exploded. There's some stats that you guys send out there. It is completely unbelievable, especially when placed comparatively with other sites.
Yeah, I mean, to me, there's this incredible community on DailyKos, and they're the heart and soul, and the reason the site exists is people who not just comment on stories that maybe staff write, but they write their own stuff. Like you, Egberto, you're an incredible and amazing member of that community, and people like you are the reason that DailyKos has been as successful as it has been. And it's sort of the grassroots, sort of do-it-yourself platform. So people come up to me and say, why aren't people talking about this issue? And DailyKos allows people to talk about those issues that they care about and reach a pretty pretty big, substantially big audience. I mean, DailyKos is the largest partisan liberal media outlet in the country. I mean, over 1 million people visit the site every single day over the course of a month. Between 10 and 20 million unique visitors, and part of the community is part of it, and also ethos is unapologetically liberal, and
Right.
it was from day one. I mean, back in 2002, it was actually difficult to be a liberal. People were getting booted off the air, booted off TV, because they were opposing the war in Iraq and opposing George Bush. And we've come a long way since then, but that sort of heart and soul of the unapologetic liberalism, that we're going to fight hard for the issues that we care about, really sort of permeates the site. And I think that's one of the reasons that it has carved out this big niche in the progressive liberal movement.
Absolutely. So, Markos, I want to ask you to hold one quick second and put a little pitch in here. Folks, please do remember, give us a call at, and she says it much better than I do,
713-526-5738. Or if you want another way of giving, you can go to kpft.org and push that little donate button. It has a heart on it. And scroll down to Politics Done Right. To give it to this particular show, but whatever you give, we are so happy you do, because we cannot do this without you. You make it possible for public radio to happen.
And as Markos Moulitsas says, the publisher, the founder of the largest progressive site, liberal site in the country, you have to support radio stations like this. We only have you, nobody else. So please call 713-526-5738. And we have some great offers. And before I get into that, I want to remind you that the person you're listening to right now, he has written the roadmap to getting rid of Trump or fighting Trump. So, Markos, why don't you tell me a little bit about your book?
I will, but I want to double stress the importance of your fundraising drive. I think it's really important that everybody listening chip in. I mean, especially you guys in Houston. You guys are lucky. You live in Texas, which has been traditionally a red state, but you're flipping. You're so close to being purple.
Yes.
And by supporting radio stations like this one, what you're doing is you're helping build the infrastructure that will lead to a blue Texas. And with a blue Texas, it's over for the Republicans. So really, really support Egberto and everybody at KPFT.
Thank you, Marcus.
And then I guess the book. So the book is the Resistance Handbook, 45 Ways to Fight Trump. And it's 45 ways to fight Trump, but really there's hundreds of ways to fight Trump. We just grouped them in 45 different categories, because the biggest question I got after Trump was elected was people coming up to me and saying, I've called my senator and I marched and then I wrote some letters and I wrote a letter to the editor. What more can I do? And I got that question so much that I actually set out with a co-author, Michael Hutner, to come up with what more can people do. And we found a ton of things people can do. And this is what's exciting. I think this is kind of book that even if you're a seasoned activist, you'll flip through and you'll find lots of new things that you hadn't even thought about that you can do, and certainly pass it out to your friends and coworkers and family when they're looking for things to do. Because what Trump is doing isn't just hurting us on policy, and that's a big part of the book, is how we can defend the issues that we care about, but he's also corrupting our culture. He's made it okay to be a bully and to be racist and xenophobic and misogynist. And so we have to sit there and find ways to protect and defend our culture, what makes America great, to protect ourselves on the issues, but also to build the infrastructure that will allow us to not just beat Trump and the Republicans over the next 2 cycles, but into the future. Because the fact is, Trumpism isn't going to die with Trump. When Trump is ousted, whether he's impeached or what, the very core of what the GOP now is Trump. The fact that 85% of Republicans still support Trump, despite everything we've seen these first few months, proves that there is no difference between Donald Trump and the Republican Party, and we need to build for the future, because those guys never give up. And until we get in the mindset that politics is part of our lives until the day we die, we're going to get beat by these guys every couple of every generation. We're going to have the next George Bush and the next Donald Trump. We remember, Egberto, we thought there'd be nobody worse than George Bush, right?
Right. Remember that? Yes.
And he pulled it off. He did it. They found somebody worse. So we cannot assume that there's nobody worse than this guy, because they'll find him. And it's going to be a him. They'll find him. And so what this book talks about is not just about finding ways to specifically fight Trump, but also to build a culture in which we turn politics into part of our daily life. Just like Republicans politicize everything from the media they watch and the churches that they worship in and the social media they consume, we have to realize that we have to integrate politics into everything that we do to the day we die and pass on those values to people around us, our children, and so on, because this is a fight that's going to last our entire lifetime.
Now, Markos, can I ask you to give me a little bit more time, but I want to go to Pledge Central to see what we've got from Stu and then come back to you?
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, Stu, what's going on out there?
What's going on? Well, unfortunately, we're waiting for our first call.
But if you want to claim that book, the Resistance Handbook, that could be yours at for a pledge of $120. We can then break that up into $20 payments per month or $10 per month. And you'd have it in 6 months if you put down $20 per month. And that way you're, practically on your way to becoming a sustainer, helping us fuel and keep afloat each and every month. But however you do give, we are certainly happy to have you as listeners. And we know that many of you out there have never picked up that phone and decided to participate in our show, but I do get to talk to so many of y'all each and every week for these kind of call-in shows, and it's so much fun. It's alive, it's vibrant. It can be a little crazy at times, but that's all part of the tapestry. But we would love to send you something for your pledge for supporting KPFT and keeping us alive and vibrant. And I can't find a better way to thank you than to say that, hey, there's 45 ways to fight Trump, and we want to send you that handbook so you are equipped.
Absolutely. And the man who wrote the book is on air with us. So go ahead while we're in this little break and Markos is taking a sip of his coffee. Go ahead and call now, 713-526-5738. I know you kind of held back because you wanted to listen to the man, but go ahead and call now. You have your opportunity, 713-526-5738.
And thank you for that call out there.
Thank you so kindly for that call. Now, please give us a call. It's very important. And I tell you what, I've read every single one of Markos Moulitsas' book. The guy knows how to write, and the guy knows what he's talking about. You don't get a website that gets over 1 million different people a day if you don't know what you're talking about. So, folks, give us a call, 713-526-5738. I guess we'll get back to Stu in a little bit, or is he there, or?
Just got one more thing to say. We need your support, folks. That's how we stay on the air. Shows like Egberto's are very rare in this part of the country. Matter of fact, this is one of the only shows like this that exists anywhere. And if we don't get your support, the revolution will not be broadcast. So please give us a buzz, send in some cash, or put it on plastic, whatever you want to do. We've got to have your support and stay on the air. Thank you.
And if you want a little flavor of Pacifica and KPFT, we do have T-shirts. That's at the $90 pledge level. Or I believe we're still offering that shirt that we've that retro tee. That's at the $100 pledge level. We could split it up into easy payments for you. It could even be as low as $25 per month. And once that would be, if after 4 payments, that is yours. Or you can pay it all at once. It's whatever you prefer. But we just need you to pick up that phone and decide to make the dive and become a contributing member here at KPFT. 713-526-5738 or pledge at kpft.org.
Every progressive activist should have this book. Every progressive activist should have the Resistance Handbook, 45 Ways to Fight Trump. But Markos doesn't only talk about what is good, stuff for progressives. Also for the average American citizen. 713-526-5738. Do you want to beat Trump? Do you want to make sure that we take back? You remember how the Tea Party folks used to say, we got to take back this country. No, we are going to take back this country. 713-526-5738. We have Markos Moulitsas on the line, publisher, founder of DailyKos, the largest liberal site, blogging site, website. He says in the country, but folks, if he's saying in the country, he means the world. Okay, Markos, welcome back.
Welcome, and I want to stress that this dream scenario where we impeach Trump and we have a Democratic president after the next cycle, it runs through Texas.
There you go.
So we need to get rid of Ted Cruz. There's really no scenario that we accomplish that without getting rid of Ted Cruz. So it's going to be important, and you guys can help that mission by helping KPFT. So hopefully you guys are supporting local media infrastructure, liberal media infrastructure.
Yeah, I noticed that we've been supporting Beto O'Rourke and some other folks in Texas. I mean, it's not like the site isn't putting its values where its money or its money where its mouth is, eh, Markos?
Yeah, I mean, Ted Cruz is a great villain to run against under any circumstances. So, but absolutely, of course. And I want to make clear that we've been supporting all kinds of Democrats. We don't care if they supported Hillary Clinton or they supported Bernie Sanders or what. What we need to do right now is take control of the House and maybe the Senate. If we can pull off the Senate, that would be incredible because we need to stop Donald Trump's agenda as quickly as we can. So that's the key. It's not about how good a Democrat, how bad a Democrat we are at this point in time. We can have that battle in 2020. That's what the primary is going to be for, and it's going to be a hard-fought primary. But right now, nobody's thinking 2020. We're thinking, how do we stop Donald Trump and maybe even get rid of him
Absolutely
after the next
so.
2018 cycle?
Now, Markos, I mentioned this sort of in passing, but I was very serious about it. One of my claims is a site like DailyKos is a site that I think every progressive should be reading every day. Every progressive should be writing for. Why don't you give an explanation as far as what this site is and why every one of us that want change, that should be our first stop in the mornings?
Yeah, so DailyKos is it's both a news site and a community site. So we have a team of writers that are covering the latest bit of news, and at a time when a lot of media outlets want to do false equivalency and give Republicans the benefit of the doubt, we don't do any of that. I mean, we're unapologetically liberal and partisan, and so we don't play any of those silly media games that the traditional media does. But also, like I said earlier, it gives a platform for people to write their own blog posts about the issues that they care about and reach a huge audience. And Egberto himself reaches hundreds of thousands of people. In fact, he's one of our most popular writers on the site. And he's not a staff writer per se. He's a member of the community, but you're able to write and reach a big audience. And if you have a voice that resonates and you have an issue that touches people, it's a great way to get the word out about the issues that you care about. And Egberto's been incredibly successful, one of the best at it, and there's thousands like him. So we definitely invite people to participate. But if that's too much, I know writing is a lot for people. We also have an email action list that sends headlines every day about the stories that are gaining the most traction. You know, about 500 stories are posted on DailyKos every single day from staff and community. And so we have an email list that sort of calls the most active ones, the most viral ones, and shoots that out to people. And also sends actions people can take to obviously to fight the Trump agenda, and those are localized actions as well. So if you're in Houston, you're going to get emails talking about things that you can do in Houston. And more often than not, what we're doing is we're going to tap into local groups. We believe very strongly, just like I'm talking about how everybody should support KPFT. Like I believe very strongly that we use our platform to help support local groups doing great work on the ground. And so we will support. We will point you to resources in your local area that are fighting for a better country. And in this case, it's going to be fighting to get rid of Ted Cruz next year. So I can't think of a more worthy cause right now than getting rid of Ted Cruz. So I'm happy to help you all do as much of that as possible.
Absolutely. So, folks, it's DailyKos.com. Like I said, that should be your first stop in the morning. DailyKos.com. Very, very important. And Markos, I tell folks here almost during my show all of the times the importance of the site, because like I said, it is so important for us to have a platform where we know we're getting valid information, unlike a lot of the sites that are just giving you fluff. So, folks, please do remember, give us a call now at 713-526-5738. Do we have to get back to Stu now or not yet? Or
I think he does have a few people to thank out there.
Okay.
Well, yeah.
What's going on, Stu?
We've got a generous contribution from Douglas way out there in the Heights.
Thank you, Douglas.
Put down a Benjamin on the fantastic plastic and instantized his donation. And we want to really thank him for that. And other than that, we've got folks ready to take your call. Got 3 very eager volunteers out here. And so let's get on with the show.
Folks,
thank you for getting us kicked off.
You got us kicked off, but they always do this to us. They come at the end. They just love our guests so much that they say, I've got to wait till he's done, and then we'll start ringing up the phone. So, Markos, let me ask you one last question. What are your thoughts going forward? Where do we go from here? A lot of people, everybody's screaming, but people are not cohesive in a lot of ways, I think, in their thinking. Before we go here, give us a pathway as you see it.
So the first step is we need to stop Trump in his tracks. We need to limit the damage he's going to do. And he's going to do damage, and we need to be cognizant of that. But first step is to stop Trump. And right now, that is the single most effective message we can do in any campaign, any race. It's what we're seeing in the in these special elections that are happening this year. Is we need to stop Trump, and we need to stop infighting. We need to stop worrying about who supported Hillary and who supported Bernie, because that doesn't matter.
Exactly.
We have a madman. We have a madman in the White House right now. And if your biggest worry right now is whether somebody supported Bernie or Hillary, you got your wrong priorities. If you're worried about who's running in 2020, wrong priorities. Let's get through 2018, and then we're going to have a primary, and we're going to have a knockdown, battle for the soul of the party. And I'm happy. It's going to be a lot of fun, and we're going to all get our voice in and really push the party to the left. But today, we fight Trump because there's nothing more important. And the way to do that is we engage electorally. If you're in Texas, my God, you guys are so lucky. You guys are in the belly of the beast. You get to register people to vote. You get to talk to people about the importance of engaging, of participating. Because if our core demographics in Texas voted, I'm talking about Latinos and young people and single women, if they voted at the same rates as white conservative men, Texas would be a blue state.
Right.
So you have the numbers to turn Texas blue. And it just takes a lot of work because there's a lot of people that are disengaged from politics. It's your chance, your privilege to be part of the movement that changes that this year and next year. So I'm excited for you guys in Texas, and I'm really looking forward to what you guys can accomplish.
Look, Markos, it was my pleasure to have you on the show. Before I go, though, are you going to do I see you in Atlanta in August?
I'm not, because I'm going with my family to Germany for the entire summer, and it's a trip that we've been planning for years.
Must be nice.
It will be. It was actually the town I lived in when I was in the Army.
Oh, great.
Mine?
So I get to go. No, it's called Bamberg in Bavaria, near Nuremberg. And so I get to go reestablish my friendship with a lot of people that I served with that are still in Germany, German friends that live there. So I'm not going to be at Network Nation this year, but absolutely next year.
Absolutely. Well, look, you go out there and have fun. You deserve it.
Beautiful. Enjoy.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you so kindly for appearing. And folks, don't forget to go ahead and call in for that great book by Markos. Markos, we are going to make sure you lose a whole lot of those books that you have called The Resistance Handbook.
I can't wait to personalize and sign them for people.
Absolutely. Yes, Markos is going to sign those books for you. The Resistance Handbook, 40 Ways to Fight Trump. Thank you so kindly for being with me, Mark.
Thanks. Have a great weekend.
You too, sir. All right, folks, that was Markos Moulitsas, the founder of DailyKos, the largest liberal blog that you need to be on, DailyKos.com.